I brought some seedling trees to my friend Kip to help improve the genetic diversity of his native grove. We also did some field grafting. It's a bit late in the season, and we filmed 3 of the 7 that we did. So we're rolling. Okay. And then you can kind of, you know which one we're going to be working on, so just kind of frame him up, and then I'll get my materials ready. So we'll clean off a little knife here, as we did before. That's got some decent diameter, because I think we're trying to match up a diameter here. That's a lot of new growth you can see. There's that line that we're looking at on the scion, right? That's like this is this year's growth above here. So on here, it's last year's growth. Right about there is where it starts. So we want to match up our diameter as close as we can. I think on this one though, since it's kind of a different enough diameter, we might go, this will be our cleft graft, I think. We'll try a cleft graft on this one. So for here, we're gonna want to select probably 1, 2, 3, 4 or so buds. Yeah, I think for the cleft graft, the diameter doesn't matter so much. So we're just gonna start our cut up here. And this one we want that like tapered wedge. Whoops, well that ruined my the rest of my scion for this, but that's okay. So we've got our tapered wedge that we're looking for, and we want it to be fairly even on both sides and come to like a nice flat point. So I'm going to shave a bit more off on this side. Yeah, and we want to be about even where our shoulder is. Again. Something like that. Okay. For now, I think I'm just going to clip this. And yeah, if there's other plants, you can kind of just push them out of the way. So there's our next bud, is on the side opposite from me. We're just going to take the whole top off this tree and then clean this up a tad. Yeah, we kind of crushed it a little bit, so I'm going to cut a little lower. Ah man, see, I keep doing that to the bark. I don't know if that's part of the slipping or what, but I'm going to go lower since I damaged it. Okay, now we want the bud facing this side basically. So I'll try to clean that up again, but it looks like a nicer cut this time. So since the diameter is kind of mismatched, we're going to align it along one side, but we want our cut basically here. Slowly but surely wiggling, not pressing too hard. We don't want to slide. We just want a long enough cut that we can put our wedge that we can put our wedge in. Now I'm a little off center, but that's okay. In fact, I did one where it was deliberately off center to try to meet like across this diameter so it would touch on both sides. It's not always feasible to do that, but I had very good take with that. I think I'm going to try for this side for my alignment. Slide that in. That's pretty darn good. See, we've got good flat connection, or it's flush along that side. It's to the bottom of the cut, and there's not too much of a shoulder there. And it's holding it in place. Our bud alignment is good. It's alternate from the other one. So I think we're gonna wrap it up. I'll start a little bit lower than the cut. And then just kind of try to wrap over myself. I may need a, and then there's a little bit of debris here and there. We don't want that in there if we can avoid it. Now, it's not on the side where the meeting is, so maybe we're not going to worry about that. So we want to like keep the pressure fairly even, but we don't want it to like squeeze out of there either. So we've got our tail, come back down, pull out a little bit, trying to, oh boy, I'm rubbing this thing pretty hard. You don't want to do that. There. Hopefully, you can just press that down. Maybe I'll cover that with the parafilm. So for my parafilm, I like to kind of give it a little bit of a stretch, a pre-stretch. Not all the way, but enough that we can pull it to kind of a bit of a thinner stretch as we go. And we want our coverage so that there's only a single layer, if we can help it, going over each of the buds. Trying to keep it flat if we can. Sometimes easier said than done. Stretch a bit as we go to get it on there tight. And then we can just kind of twist off at the end. So that's a cleft graft. All right, probably cut there. All right, let's see here. What do we got? What do we got? What do we got? That looks good. That's pretty nice diameter, and the buds look fairly intact. And yeah, so that's all right. And the, like, not a terrible diameter mismatch, but there's our last year's growth line. You can see past my thumbnail. Rather than try to get two pieces, I think I'm just going to go for one piece. And I think I'm going to cut off, like, although our diameter is a little bit better there. Well, I'll start there and we'll go from there. Might be able to get a nice long cut on that side. Looks pretty good. Just kind of shaving it until I find like a nice even section where there's like nice cambium all the way around, because you see that kind of dips in on that side a little bit. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Long, not the flattest, so you really want like a flat cut. You don't want like lumps in it. Flat end to end. So that looks pretty flat to me. So then we're going to cut the whole top off of this, and that's our next bud is here, so we're going to cut like there. It's pretty low, but I think we'll do okay. Flatten that a little bit. decent. Not my best work, but pretty good. So we'll cut for our whip and tongue. Start down about there, and then just to kind of start it, but then we want our cut angle to be pretty thin, if you will, or almost parallel to the other side. And we don't want to get too far because we're cutting towards that bud now. So I'm going to stop there, but that was started about the 1/3 line from the top. So usually I'll visualize by kind of backing up about the depth of my cut and then seeing where the start of my cut lines up. So if I go back about that long, which seems about the depth of my cut, it seems to line up right about there, which is that kind of that 1/3 line again. So I'll start about there, try to begin my cut kind of perpendicular, but then really change that angle. And again, slow and steady wins the race on this one. This is not a race. This is because if you start racing, you start sliding into your hand meat. So we don't need to go too deep, probably about there, about the depth of the blade or so. I'm going to set this down. So now you can see we have 2 cuts on either side. We're going to hope that they match up and slide together pretty well. I've had better matchups, but this looks pretty good. And it's all going to pull together with a rubber band. Now, you can see there's a little bit of green exposed here and yonder, but I had a worse mismatch at on my cut, or on my graft from the workshop one that I did, and that took, but that was a bigger diameter everything. So we'll just see. But again, I'm not 100% graft success rate by any means, but the more you do, the better you get, and the more odds you have that something's going to take. And I don't want to cover up that bud so much, but I want that whole cut covered by rubber band tension. So I'm kind of doubling back now, maintaining a grip on that rubber band as I go. And we've got just about enough to do a tie off here. You can kind of just bring that loop right over the bottom, and there it is. So that is a whip and tongue graft. Now I got to get some parafilm on there and we'll be good to go. So this should be an interesting video. Different than my others. It's neat to be out here in the woods. Maybe we'll shoot a little bit of just kind of B-roll or whatever to get an idea of what it looks like out here. Yeah. We don't have to mention where we are either.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
You edit these things and stuff?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like
you got a machine, or you do?
Well, I do it right on. I do it all right on my phone. There's this really great app called UCut. Shout out to UCut and the programmers who make it. But boy, just get this started here. It is a really capable and free video editing program, or app, I guess you would say, for your phone. But like, as far as I haven't found too much that it doesn't do in the free version, and you can pay for more features. But really, I've been able to do an incredible amount of fairly sophisticated editing right there on my phone. You know, I usually keep these videos simple, but I do some like kind of artier ones. I did I did this one that's like a horror short called The Last Pawpaw.
We saw that one.
Okay, so yeah, that had quite a bit of editing in it.
Yeah, we saw that one.
I liked that one. it came together pretty well over like a weekend or something like that. It was just me and Sue. I had made a possum costume for the Nature Center Halloween party, and it kind of gave me the idea to do the rest of the movie around that. Sue went as a hummingbird.
So which of these grafts do you like the best? You like that
I think
one?
Whip and Tongue is my favorite just because it's kind of like
That one right there?
stable. Yeah, the one I just did here. It's stable.
It kind of locks it in
holds
there.
together. Yeah, and like, it's just satisfying to put it together.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah. It's
You gotta
kind of
watch
snaps.
out. We got poison ivy right
Snaps
here. So.
together.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, there's one more.
All right.
On to the next. All right. So for this guy, we're gonna try to do a modified bark flap graft. This is popularized by Cliff England. That's how I learned it. He's that guy, nuttrees.net, that I sent you the link as one of the possible places to get scion from.
Yeah.
But he does a bunch of grafting. He's got a few videos. I saw this one on Facebook.
He sells his fruit all over the world, right, or something like that.
Yeah, I mean,
pretty
he's
well
pretty
known.
well renowned, and he's very near to Kentucky State University as well, which is like the USDA genomic repository,
Just
right?
see where you're cutting.
I'm going to
here.
cut below basically all the branch growth, and just take the whole top off.
Okay.
Because this is not a huge diameter. I mean, it's a little bit, it's a little thick, but you know, not super thick diameter. So this will be, I think, a good candidate for the bark flap graft. I'm going to clean up the top a little bit. Careful, the bark has really been easy to bruise and split and slip on these, so I got to
Maybe
be
the
kind of
humidity.
gentle. Yeah, I think, well, I think a lot of these are putting on a lot of growth too. So, I mean, a little messy of a cut. Not too bad. So the side that I usually make sort of a, you know, maybe not the cleanest cut, I usually treat as my flap because, well, we might go for the other side actually, because we're going to cut that too. So we'll do this side. Our bud is on this side, so we want to be on the alternate side with our next bud. But I guess I better cut my scion piece first before we get too ahead of ourselves. So for this one, this is kind of, you can see there's not a whole lot of last year's growth. We've only got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or so buds. So we're going to cut some of this away and have that sort of offset wedge, as I might, well, I mentioned to you before, not anybody in the video though. So we're going to have a long side and a short side to our wedge. And I think the long side, our first bud's going to be this one. I'm going to cut away everything else. So our long side will be this side. I'll clean that up a little bit. Try to keep it flat if I can. This is kind of a small piece here. Ideally, you'd be working with a larger diameter, but sometimes you're forced to work with what you got. So, gosh, we could almost do just like a wedge where we slide it under the side. Might do that just as another variation, just for the heck of it, because it seems like the shape might fit better. So in this case, we're making a little bit of a wedge. Want to be alternate from here, and I think I'm just going to cut a single cut this way, about the depth of our wedge, and then just kind of place it in between the cambium and the inner wood as it kind of pops out. So we'll look at our length here. We only want it to be about that deep. You can do 2 cuts, but really I think we only need the one. Maybe a little deeper. what we're hoping for is that this just kind of can wedge into there like that. We might have wanted a little bit longer of a piece, but we're sort of limited by our material, and we're just going to do our best with what we got. So I think this would be like a bark flap graft, not a modified bark flap graft. And then we'll just do our wrap, climbing as we go. And I'm going to, rather than squeeze up from the bottom, I'm going to kind of do sort of an even wrap and then come back down. So, because you don't want this to like squeeze out of the cut by putting too much pressure building up from the bottom, you know. That's why I did it that way, and then shove it down there a little bit more. And then, ooh, it's about to come down. I think this might be the end of the video, but we'll get this we'll get this wrapped up here real quick, and then you can pack up and go. You can cut these. I should add sometimes that you get like a little bit of an excess tab of rubber band. You can just
cut them right off.
Yep. So I'm going to go around and try to encase this fully. I'm getting my stretch there.
This one you want to probably cover the stem too, right?
Yep, everything. Everything.
The exposed area.
Yep, precisely. We'll do kind of just a wrap over there. And then we only want, well, you might do a double wrap actually there, but we only want a single layer
on the buds,
going over the buds if we can.
You only needed the rain.
Yeah, we did. Not right now, but but I'll take it.
All right.
So there we go. And I mean, 3 out of 4. So we'll put a little mark on it. And these are all Davis, I should add, so we don't, no confusion there, which is good.
Perfect.
I shared the link with the grafting playlist I've got.
No, it's really helpful to see it.
Yeah, up in person, yeah, it really does make a difference to watch. Boy.
So you think, I mean, I should just try a few more and...
Yeah, and I can leave, I'll leave the Davis with you if you want me to leave some other Scion. In fact...